Hi again, everyone. I'm Olliemathews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Angela. Before I get to the subject matter, I ask everybody to please go to the description box and click on the Rumble link to this video and watch the Rumble version, as I am still monetized over there, and it'll help with the channel success greatly. On to the subject matter. Hey Ollie, I've been catching up on videos, wanted to take you up on the Daria video. I've heard some people talk highly of the show. I haven't had a chance to watch it myself. I'd love to hear about it or other shows that relate to the Gen X experience. Angelina. So, I do this every time. Every time I mess this up. So, on to the subject matter. So, best way for me to do this is basically to go off the Daria wiki. This isn't completely accurate. You know, these are fan pages, but it'll give a general idea of the show. And this show ran from like 97 till 2002. And Daria, the main character, originated off of Beavis and Butthead. In the 90s, she was a background character to Beavis and Butthead. She was the smart kid in their class, and the story, how MTV wanted something like a sort of a Beavis and a girl show. Not necessarily Beavis and Butthead, but they wanted a girl show. So they took Daria out of Beavis and Butthead and gave it to one of the writers was Glenn Eichler. Went over and started writing Daria with a woman, and one of the editors was the one who actually came up with the character Daria. I forget his name, Fenton, David Fenton, and he's not really, don't really know a lot about him, but he's the one who basically developed her background, and then they went and developed the show. I wasn't really that into it in 97 because I was working and didn't have a lot of time. It's something I kind of got into later on. And I really just like the show. I mean, it's a very relaxing show. It's funny, but it's not like ha-ha funny. It's like dry humor. It's very dry humor. It's very situational. It's dry. It's not Beavis and Butthead at all. Like, it's not that type of humor. They took it so she moves out of Beavis and Butthead and moves to this town, Lawndale, to this bigger house. Her mom's this power attorney. Her father's kind of like this personal consultant and never really works out. He's kind of a simp, but not really, like the early age of a simp, but not really. What this show is what Gen X should have had and what the boomers should have been. Because Daria's parents were both born in 1950s, according to the show. So they are typical slap-dab boomers. But they don't act like boomers. They do some boomerish stuff, and we'll go through the characters, and Daria is very cynical on everything. She has something negative to say about everything. Kind of a misery chick. Very intelligent, very smart, was an adult, was a little mini adult as a child. So a lot of us can relate. Didn't get along with any kids, parents constantly getting called into school because she was outsmarting the teachers and giving them lip. Jane's her best friend, who's like an artist type, not as academically strong as Daria, but they're best friends. Jake's Daria's dad. Helen's her mom, power attorney. But the thing with both parents are, okay, the father was abused by his father, had that prototypical narcissistic abusive relationship from the father, sent him off to military school where he was brutalized and abused. His mother is like just this domineering type who doesn't like the wife, tries to undermine. But the thing is, you never, ever, ever see him or the mother do anything bad to either Daria or her sister Quinn. And they're mirror opposites. Quinn is like this beauty queen type, popular chick, vice president of the fashion club, and I'll get into that a little bit because it's funny, you know. Helen, the wife, she's an attorney, obsessed with work, has one of these bosses that just calls and calls and calls and calls, you know, but they have this gorgeous house. They're living in these suburbs, this gorgeous house, you know. Daria and the sister, they basically have everything they could want. But the mother's not disconnected from being a parent. Neither is the father. And the father and the mother always have Daria's back, and Quinn's for that matter. And it's there where it's like that real off-ramp from your prototypical boomer family, from boomer parents who are like power hungry and the whole dynamic. But above all else, they put their children, which is why, you know, the show works, you know. Quinn, not very bright. Brighter than she leads on. But, you know, obviously at odds with Daria, the brain, and she's the beauty and the brain. But as the show progresses, you see she really has an attachment to her older sister, and Daria to her too. You know, though there's jealousy issues and your typical sibling rivalries, when push comes to shove, they can work together and they know how to bond as sisters. Like Helen has two sisters as well, and you find this out. And her mother, and she's the oldest. Amy's the middle child. Her sister Amy's the middle child. I can't remember can't remember the youngest sister's name, the blonde though. The baby's the favorite. The middle child is just ignored, and Helen's the black sheep of the family. Whereas her mother does everything for the little sister, nothing for the other two sisters, nothing for Daria and Quinn, everything for her sister's youngest kid, whose name is Erin. So there's a lot of narcissism set up in all of these characters. Trent is Jane's older brother. He's a musician. That's pretty terrible. But he's a terrible musician. But him and his band are pretty funny. Daria had a crush on Trent for a while, and he kind of liked her, but it never really went anywhere. And here's the thing about the show. It's not political. Like Daria is pretty feminist in the things she says, but it's not over the top. Like, it's not, and there's a lot of these things where she ends up getting proven wrong. I mean, the show is very, very, very balanced. So the relationship with these two never really went anywhere, but he was always very supportive of Daria. And Trent and Jane have like a very, very tight brother-sister relationship where he supports her art, she supports his music. Both their parents are complete friggin' boomer flakes, baby boomer hippie flakes. The mother's some weird artist. They make their money. And everybody here, like all the families here, there's no poors. Everybody's got money. Jane's father is a famous photographer. So he's constantly on location in these crazy places. Now, here's the thing. Tom started as Jane's boyfriend and then ended up hooking up with Daria. And it's like Daria, this feminist, this one on the high and mighty, ended up stealing Jane's boyfriend. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a show where like, where it's a man-hating show or feminism is always right and girl power. No. This show calls out life for what it is. Like, nobody's perfect. Everybody's fallible. Okay. And these people who are spouting the most feminist thing are the first ones to violate their own principles. Of all the characters on the show, I'd say Tom is the least realistic because he comes over off as this over-the-top, nice guy, understanding guy, never really gets mad about anything. It's not really, and he's not a bad guy. I mean, there are no bad characters on this show. There are none. So everybody's like, in their core, is a pretty decent person. Summer is Jane's mother. She's a complete flake. Britney is the head cheerleader in the school, and she's dumb as hell. And she dates Kevy, and she dates Kevin, the quarterback of the team, who's dumb as hell. Let's see. She dates Kevin Thompson. This is Kevy. He always wears his football uniform everywhere he goes. This one's a little unrealistic too, because he's a quarterback, but they make him out to be really, really, really dumb. But if you're in reality quarterback, you're not a dumb. Quarterbacks aren't dumb. You can't play quarterback and be dumb. So that one's a little unrealistic. But even though they're, the jocks and all that, everybody's just like a nice person. This is Amy, who I said her Aunt Amy, her mother's middle sister, who is the most like Daria. You find out that she's basically an older version of Daria. So she'll be kind of like Daria's muse in a few episodes where Daria will call her up, or Amy will come in and kind of balance things out for her. Let's see, who else is interesting? Now, Jody they were going to try to bring this. Now, apparently they were going to bring this show back, Daria, and they were going to make it Daria and Jody, and make Jody, who was another side character. She's the valedictorian of the school, and she's a black female, but they were going to try to make her woke, and she was not a woke girl. She doesn't come from a woke family at all. Her family, obviously she has black parents, but her parents wanted her to go like to these, this high, like above Harvard type school. I can't remember the name of it. Won't allow her to make any type of excuses for her race. She doesn't want to make any excuses for her race, though at the end she ends up going to a black college because she didn't want to be the black girl in the white school for once. She wanted to do a couple of years in a black community and have that experience, which is understandable, which she had to convince her parents of. But she wasn't this woke character. She was the valedictorian. She never made excuses. She was the hardest worker, and she would be the one a lot of times to call Daria out on some of Daria's feminist bullshit. So they were going to try to relaunch this show, and they eventually canceled it. Featured media, Jody, previously known as Daria and Jody, is an upcoming spinoff, and this is canceled already. Reboot of Daria, which was centered around Jody Landon after she graduates from college. 2020. Apparently they made this, and they won't show it to anybody. So that just tells you how terrible it really is. And so you don't need to go through all the characters, but everybody on the show is a decent person. It's not sexual. It's not political. They do some political stuff, but they keep it balanced. And it's not like they shove it down your throat. And it's not like every liberal friggin' idea is put up on a pedestal. A lot of this stuff is pushed back against. That's why when I heard they were going to try to bring the show back and it was going to be all woke, I'm like, that show was not a woke show. It just wasn't, especially since it originated out of Beavis and Butthead. How are you going to get it woke out of that? She was a Beavis and Butthead character, not obviously still being the smart girl, but the writers, the editors of the show came off of Beavis and Butthead. So to try to then take it and twist it into something else, it's just never going to work. But what this show really is what the Gen X boomer experience should have been and could have been. So if you haven't watched the show, I would highly recommend checking it out. It's really good. It's not, and like I said, don't go into it thinking it's like this ha-ha full. It's not South Park funny. It's not Beavis and Butthead funny. It's very make you think funny. It's very time and place and context funny. It's very funny to Gen X, you know, especially like some of the inside stuff. Like there's this show, Sick Sad World, that you constantly see commercials for because they're watching TV, and they're always these over the top things. It was kind of something. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do a full length show of a Sick Sad World episode, which would have been funny. They never did. I kind of would like to get a Sick Sad World T-shirt. I bet I could. It'd be funny. So that's my Daria overview. Check out the show. It's definitely worth it, especially if you're Gen X. You'll relate to it, and you'll realize and watch, especially the parents, Jake and Helen Morgendorfer. You know, they're ambitious. He's flighty. You know, he's like, you know, he's kind of a pussy. She's making all the money. She's doing all the work. But watch how he loves, both of them love Daria and love Quinn. And they never say a bad word. Never, never, never. There's an episode almost at the boxing Daria, the second to the last episode before she goes off to college, where where Daria is having memories because they had to buy a new refrigerator, and there was a refrigerator box, and she was remembering having a refrigerator box when she was a kid that she used to play with in her room. And there was a whole fight about her with her father and mother had a fight, and it brought back memories, and it really kind of wrapped up the series very nicely, where Daria basically said, you know, I wasn't an easy child. Them always having to be drug in, and you know, I've come to realize they're pretty good parents, you know. And she told them that. Something that most of us could never say to our boomer parents. And that's when you realize that's what the boomers were supposed to be. And they just weren't. So, check it out. Thank you, Angelina, for sponsoring the video. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone watching. Please leave any opinions or comments in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. And if you haven't watched the video on Rumble, please do, even if it's just a click. Even the clicks help. Also, please subscribe, follow me on X and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.